Hello, my name is Jackson, and this video I'm going to teach you how to build a wave-based enemy spawner for a multiplayer game. It'll also work for a single player game if that's what you're going for, so don't stress. And if you don't want to build this for yourself and you just want to buy it and put it in your game, there will be a link to a marketplace version of what I've completed here in the description. This is a third-person template. It's empty. I've just deleted the character that was in the scene there, and I've just created an empty folder called wave-based spawner, and we're just going to do our work in there. So I'm going to create a blueprint class and just call this wave-based spawner BP. Oops, I spelled that wrong, sort of. Oh, fuck's sake. Wave-based spawner BP. What was I going to say? Yeah, so basically a wave-based spawner, what it's going to do is we're going to have a big list of enemies and we're just going to spawn them at begin play, and then once they're all defeated it'll get the next list of enemies and then spawn those. And then I'll show you how to set up like a basic damage system and AI at the end, but that won't be the focus of this video. This wave-based spawner will be the focus. So on begin play, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to say switch has authority, because we only want this to run on the server version of the game for multiplayer. Again, this will work for single player, you don't have to worry about all of this, but I'm just showing you the multiplayer version in case that's what you want. And multiplayers, it's cool. It's not that much harder to do if you know what you're doing. So and then we're going to have a delay and we're going to do a countdown. So what we'll do is we'll have a variable which will just be called initial countdown, and this will just be the countdown until the waves start. So what we'll do is we'll have a custom event down here which will just be called display message, and then we'll have a print string, and then we'll plug that into there, and just like that, and we'll set the time here to, I don't know, 10 seconds, so they stick around for a bit. Okay, so the game begins. If this is on the server, then what we're going to do is we're going to display message. Oops, can spell. And we'll display the countdown time. Or actually what we'll do is we will promote the initial countdown to another variable which we'll call counter. The initial countdown can be a public variable with the eyeball on it, and then the counter can just be like that. And then the counter is the one that we're going to use to display this message. So control drag to put that in there like that. Boom, 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 gangster. Now we're going to display the time, because this is the time left. And actually what we could do is we could do an append down here, and this could be time until start, and then put that into there. Okay, and then we're going to wait a second, and then after we wait a second, we'll grab our counter, and then we're going to decrement that. Get in line, you dog. And then we'll display another message. Actually, before we do that, we might actually have a branch over here like this, and we'll just check if the counter is equal to 0. And if it's equal, alright, yeah, okay. Alright, that's good, that's good. So now, I feel like my words are just all over the place, God. I haven't done a tutorial in a while. I kind of miss this, just talking like an absolute dickhead while I try and make this code work. Okay, so if the counter is equal to 0, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the wave. So that's just a reroute node over there. RER for reroute node. And then if it's not equal to 0, we're going to wait a second, decrement, and then print the message again, and then check if it's equal to 0. So this is the countdown. So we can comment all of that and just call this countdown until start. C for comment. I really need to get the keys I'm pressing showing up on the screen. So now I suppose we can have a custom event which will be spawn next wave down here. Which I suppose we'll just call, won't we? Spawn next wave, like that. I suppose that's what we'll do. And then when we spawn a wave, I think what should we do? We'll have a data table full of settings. So let's go into the content browser and go blueprints, structure, and just call this wave settings underscore S for structure, I suppose. Now this will be enemy classes, that'll be the first thing, which will be of actor, type, class reference, and that'll be an array. Okay, so this is for every wave. Every wave there's going to be a list of classes to spawn. There's going to be a number of each class, so this will be of integer. So the first entry in this array will be like, say if it's like 6, then it'll spawn 6 instances of the first class in that array. You following? And then we might have another one which we could call spawn point. Maybe. We might do that later. Let's just leave that as an actor reference for now. I might do that at the end. Is that all we need? I think that's all we need. So now what we can do is we can create a data table out of that. So if we go to miscellaneous and create a data table, and then you type in wave settings, select any of them, it doesn't matter, there's going to be 2 of them for some reason, and we'll just call this wave settings underscore data table. Okay, and now we can add a row in here, and now we can call this first row name my tutorial wave settings, and then in here you can see we've got all our settings. So let's say we want to spawn the third person character 6 times on our first wave as our first enemy, and the spawn point type, we're going to set that up later, so let's not worry about that. Let's even just delete that from there, fuck that, just to keep this simple so that you can see how this works, right? And then for the next wave, oh actually no, I've fucked up here, hold on. Or have I? No, I haven't. Oh, I sort of have. I've sort of fucked up. So what we need to do is, now we've got wave settings there, I think we need to create another structure which will be this is a separate wave settings. Maybe this could be wave enemy info underscore S. That's the first structure we made, and then the other structure can be called wave info underscore S, and wave info structure is going to have the wave enemy info structure as its variable, and that's going to be of type array. So this is like this is arrays within arrays, right? And now this is going to be called wave info. Okay, so now if we delete that data table that we made earlier, because we completely fucked that up, so let's just delete that. Go to miscellaneous, and we're going to create a new data table, and this one's going to be of wave info underscore S. Again, it doesn't matter which one you pick there, and we're going to call this wave info underscore DT for data table. And now if we add a row, we can call this tutorial wave settings, something like that. And now what we've got here is, this is the information for every wave. So my face is probably over it right now, so let me just put it on the other side of the screen. You're not going to have anything for wave 0, but then you've got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, or that could be wave 1, that could be wave 2, that could be wave 3, but that's confusing when it's 0 based. Anyway, so you can expand this, and now you can see if we wanted for wave 1 third person character to spawn, and we want 6 of him, we can add that in there like that. Now I'm just going to delete the rest of these. Oh my god, so fucking slow. And then say we wanted a different enemy. Let's say we want atmospheric fog to spawn times 3. This will be our first wave, right? So, or this will be our 0 wave. We've got 6 third-person characters, and then 3 atmospheric fogs. Okay, and then say we want a separate level with different wave settings. We add a new row, and then this is called tutorial wave settings level 2, where it's harder. You can put different settings in here. Okay, and now what we need to do is get our wave-based spawner to talk to this data table to get the information from the data table. So if we go into our wave-based spawner, what we might do, even before we start the countdown, let's run a little hot tip. So double click this, right click, collapse to function, and I'm just going to call this init for initialize. That was the hot tip. Now what was I saying? We're going to run an initialize function to set everything up. So let's say get data table row, right? The data table is wave info data table, and the row name, see, now we can select. Let's promote that to a variable and just call this wave settings row name. And then we're going to promote the out row to a variable which is going to be called wave settings. Alright, that's the initialization done, and you know what, I reckon we can put this counter in the initialization as well. And if you wanted an error off that, you could put a print string there to say, you know, you've misspelt the row name, bro. Check your shit. Alright, how are we going for time? 11 minutes, bro! What the fuck? What the fuck? That's not too bad. Well, it is sort of bad, but let's just keep going. It'll take as long as it takes, man. There's no point trying to rush it. I'm going to have a new category, which is going to be called public, or publics, if you can't spell. And I'm just going to put my public settings in there so I know when I look at this what I can edit and what I can't edit. Let's give our spawner a billboard as well. So let's do that. What have we got here? We got any cool looking, oh yeah, UE4 baby. Let's drop that in. 3, yeah, that's our spawner. That's our spawner. So if we drop, yeah, look at that, yo. Cool, so now we can close down our structures. We've got our initialization thing running. We've got our countdown running. Let's put that over there. Now, spawning the next wave. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to grab our wave settings and we're going to break that. And now we've got our wave info. Okay, so this is the information for each wave. So the one that we want to get from that is the current wave that we're up to. So this can be current wave number. Okay, and then if we break that, now you can see we've got the enemy classes for that wave and the amount of each class for that wave. So the current wave number by default is going to be 0, but when we call spawn next wave, let's increment this. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to run our function which is going to spawn all the enemies. So let's say, let's call this a function. Let's call this spawn enemies for current wave. And then just punch that there. So we increment the wave number to wave 1 if it's the first wave, and then we spawn the enemies. So what we're going to do here is we've got our enemy classes there. We can add a F and left click for a for each loop, and then for each enemy class, we're going to run a for loop, not a for each loop, from 1 to whatever the class amount is, which will be the array index, like that, into there. Then we're going to spawn actor from class off the end, and the actor we're going to spawn is going to be the array element, whichever class that is, and then we're going to get a spawn point. So you know what, let's add a reroute node down there, and then this could be a new function which could just be called get random spawn point, and then click pure to make that a pure function, and then this will be spawn transform. Alright, now let me just reiterate what I just did there, because that might have been a little bit confusing. For every enemy class, so this is going through this entire array, what we're going to do is get the array index of whichever class we're up to. So if we're up to the first one, then we're going to get the amount of that enemy for the first enemy. I feel like I'm just making this more confusing. But basically this array index corresponds to whichever array element we're up to. So we're going to get that amount from here and then run the for each loop from 1 to whatever that amount is. So say for example, the first enemy class is third person character. Okay, so that's third person character is the array element here, which is coming out and being spawned. Now the amount of times that we're going to spawn that was, say, 6. So we're getting all the class amounts, and then we're getting the amount for the first element, which is the third person character, which is 6. So 6 comes out of that, okay? And then we plug that into there. So if it's just 1 to 1, it'll just run once. If it's 1 to 6, it'll run 6 times. So we're running this thing here 6 times to spawn 6 characters. Okay? Oh man, words. Fuck words. I hate words. And then what we're going to do is every time we spawn something, we're going to add it to an array and call this current enemy references. I should have drank some coffee or taken some sort of something to be more awake, but that's fine. Okay, so we're adding it to there, so we're keeping a reference of all of them. Now, down here, if we just add a return node, that'll finish the spawning, okay? Now, the random spawn points, let's set up some spawn points real quick. So if we create a new blueprint class and just call this wave-based spawn point, BP. Let's drop in a billboard. Dinosaur is fine. Let's call the dinosaur the spawn point. Oh god. Spawn point transform maybe. And let's just put him up by like 500 units so that they just spawn above the ground. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. We won't use the transform, we'll just use the location. Everything going smoothly, 17 minutes, yikes. Now when we get a random spawn point, we're just going to get a random one of these. So what your map's going to look like is you're going to drop these in the world. Oops. I'm just going to turn off my snapping. You're just going to drop these in the world wherever you want your AI to spawn. And you know, 500 might be a bit high, so let's drop that down to like 200 or something like that. Okay, so your AI will just spawn at whichever one of these points you want. It'll just spawn at a random point. So in our initialization function, we've set up the data table, we've set up the counter. Let's get all actors of class, which is going to be our wave-based spawn points, and then promote that to a variable which will just be spawn point references. And we're going to use this over here to get all our stuff from. So save spawn points. You want to do this in the initialization because you don't want to be calling this a lot, because slow. So in our get random spawn point, this is actually super easy. All we have to do is get our spawn point references and get, oh surely, random array item, boom, just like that. You could do this with a seed if you wanted. So you could go random array item from stream and then just put random stream down there. Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's do that. We're doing a seeded random thingamabob, so that you can send your seed to your mates and they'll get the same position of enemies. So when you get the item, the spawn point, we're gonna. Can I just get the spawn point transform? What did I call it? Yeah, get the spawn point transform, because that's the billboard. I should probably call that billboard. Spawn point transform billboard. And then we can get the world transform of that. Actually, you know what? Let's not get the transform. Let's just get the world location of that. And then let's get, or what's it called? Make transform? Yeah, we can make a transform like this and put that into the spawn transform. And then the rotation, let's get a random float in range from stream, okay? from 0 to 360, so they've all got a random rotation, and if you've got the stream in there, it'll produce the same results each time you play. Now that's an error because I didn't compile this, so let's compile that and then recompile this. I'm pressing F7 to compile, by the way, in case you didn't know. And now if I haven't made any mistakes, that should work just fine, I think. The only other thing, if we're going to make this a seeded thing, this will return different results every single time you play the game. So this array will be in a different order. So we'll need to do like a sorting thing for that later. I might do that at the end though, because that's sort of niche, if you know what I mean. That's like a fine detail, a little bit of salt, a little bit of spice at the end. So once we've saved the spawn points, let's set up the seed as well. So if we have our random stream, we can just say seed random stream, just like that. Come on, in you go. Actually, no, we don't want that. We want to say, what is it? Set random stream seed. Yeah, just like that. And then we can get the seed in here. Okay, and then we can plug that up into public, and then we can comment this and call this set seed. Easy. And then obviously, like, you can set this to whatever you want, and you could have that random if you wanted. You could set that to a random one at begin play, or you could let the play input that if they wanted to as well. Alright, so whenever we spawn a new wave, let's display a message down here after we've spawned them, and we're going to say append, and this message is going to be wave space current wave number, control drag, space begin exclamation mark. And then we just want to, I suppose, check if all of the enemies are defeated. So if we grab our current enemy references, let's add a for each loop off of that, and then I'm just going to collapse all of this to a function. Check if enemies are defeated. So the way that we check if all the enemies are defeated is we just get all the enemy references and we say is valid. Oh god, no, don't go into that. Is valid. And if a single one is valid, you can just go to the return node, and the output on the return node is going to be all defeated, question mark. And it'll go out to that and say all defeated is false. Now, if this completes, in other words, every single enemy returned not valid, then all defeated can be true. Okay? So, when you're building your combat system, you've got to make sure all of your enemies are destroyed, like the actor is destroyed, and then this will work. So, check if enemies are defeated, add a branch, left click and B for a branch. If they're not all defeated, add a delay of, I don't know, we can just check every second. And if they are all defeated, then I suppose we could spawn a sound and then go to the next wave. But if this is going to be a multiplayer thing, we're going to have to do that. Oh no, that's actually pretty easy, isn't it? So let's have a custom event. The way that you do sounds with multiplayer is just call this MC MC for multicast spawn sound, and then what you do is you go up here, multicast reliable, and then you say spawn sound. We want it to be a 2D sound because it's just gonna play to everyone, and then you can just put the sound into there, and you can put the other settings into there if you want as well, and then we can call this MC spawn sound. So then after we finish the wave, MC spawn sound, we could say wave complete, wave complete. I don't actually have any sounds, which is awkward because I don't have any starter content, but that's how you do it if you wanted to do that. I don't know if that'll give us an error if it tries to make a false sound, but and then I suppose we might have a delay, which will be we could just set it to like 2 seconds or something, and then we can just start the next wave, right? Or actually, before we start the next wave, we want to check if there are more waves to start. So what we'll do is we'll grab our wave settings and we'll break this, and then we'll get the last index and we'll check if the current wave number is equal to the last index. That's control drag to move that. Okay. So after we wait our 2 seconds, yeah, this is what we'll do. Now that's a little bit messy, but no, it's not actually. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. Yeah. That's not a tangly mess of spaghetti. That's art. That's art. So now check if final wave. So if it's the final wave, then we might have another event down here, which will be called final wave finished, and then we can just put a message down there which could just say final wave complete, and you could spawn a sound or do whatever the fuck you wanted, honestly. Now if it's the final wave, we will say final wave finished. And if it's not the final wave, so if this is not the last index, then we'll say next wave. So check if final wave finish or start next wave. Finish game or start next wave. So I'm just going to comment everything now. So this is increment wave. And you know what? I might just put this here like that. So we'll spawn after we display the message. So increment wave and show message. Move all this over a bit. And then this whole bit here, this could be spawn enemies and check validity. And check validity periodically. Wave finished feedback. Okay, that can be like that. And then this whole thing can just be called spawn next wave. So it's all got the shit commented out of it. And then this can down here can be finished final wave. This here can be called BP for begin play. And this over here is display message, which we'll need to move to a player controller at the end if that's going to be a replicated thing. But oh my god, we're already half an hour in. Jesus fucking. Alright, how's everything going down here? Everything looks pretty good. Everything looks pretty good. I might do this in 2 parts, I reckon. Let me just check if there's anything else. Oh yeah, we got to actually put some enemies in. Yeah, let's do that. So let's create a new blueprint class. Actually, let's not do that. Let's instead grab our third person character, Control B to browse to there, and just call this simple chasing AI. I just pressed Control W to duplicate. Simple chasing AI underscore BP. I mean, we don't actually need to change anything in there, so let's just ignore that. Now, down here, we are going to move him to the wave-based spawner. Yep, moved, cool. And I suppose we can just get him spawning. Let's give him some AI, just to make him really shit. Really shit AI. So when he begins play, let's just say AI move to, and then just get the player character, so he just chases you. Oh, sorry, that one needs to be in target actor. The pawn is going to be self. And I mean, that should be all he needs, right? And if it, yeah, let's just do that. So he's just always going to be chasing you. All right, and if we go into our wave info, let's actually set this up so that it's properly. The first entry is going to be nothing because there's nothing for wave 0. But then wave 1, let's just add in simple chasing AI. And I don't know, we can spawn like 3 of him or something like that. Should we have a way to kill him as well? I think we should probably have a way to kill him. I might tidy that up in the next video perhaps. I think that should be working. So let me just check the settings in here. Tutorial wave settings, is that the correct name? Yep. Initial countdown, we'll make that like 5 seconds. And the seed is 69, baby. Alright, so what happens if we jump in? See, up in the top left, we're getting the messages. And then, boom! Spawn, spawn. And then one over there as well. Look at that. Now they can't actually do anything because we need a nav mesh. So up in place actors, add a nav mesh bounds volume. That's the first thing that we're going to do. Now in details, just drag that out, drag that out, drag that out, and then press P. Yeah. Now we got a nice little nav mesh. Press P again to hide that. Now, the other thing that was wrong, it looked like they weren't... so this auto-possess AI needs to be placed in world or spawned. Because they were spawned, they didn't actually have an AI controller and their whole thing broke. So, let's try that again. Oh, this is tense. What's gonna happen? Oh shit. Oh shit, here they come, boys. You're pretty dumb, aren't you? You don't know how to jump. You don't know how to jump. You ain't got shit. Look at this. You can't get me. Oh, look at them. Fucking hell. They're coming for me, man. They're coming. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Alright. Alright. 32 minutes. So, look, that's the wave-based spawner. I should probably add in a way to kill them just so we can test that this actually works. So, let's just... What should we do? Let's grab our third-person character. You know what? I'm just going to make it so if I touch them, they die. Because we're just going to be overpowered, alright? And then in the next video, I might neaten it up a little bit. And we're going to... So we're going to add a sphere collision called Kill Them All. And if any of them touch this, they're instantly dead, alright? So we're going to right-click that, add event, add on component, begin overlap. So when this component overlaps another actor, if that actor is... Can I cast to simple chasing AI? Yeah. If it's a simple chasing AI, we're going to destroy the actor, alright? Now, if this is a multiplayer thing as well, you want this to only happen on the server, so you'll have switch has authority. You want all your damage to happen on the server in case your clients cheat. Or, well, no, you just want it to happen on the server, just because the server's the one true instance of the game. Now, you can't see my damage volume, but it's there. It's there. Alright, come get me. See, they spawned at the same spawn points. That's the seed. Look at that, bitches, you're dead. Wave complete. Final wave complete. Oh yeah, that was the only wave, wasn't it? So let's add in a new wave. Can I just right click that and then duplicate it? Yeah, I can. So now we got wave 2 here. So if we expand all on wave 2, which my face is probably over, but that's fine. We're gonna have 6 of them in wave 2, alright? Now, you could have a countdown here as well, but let's just wait the 2 seconds and then start the next wave. Alright, here we go. Here we go. This is the final thing I'm going to test, and then I'm going to cut this video and probably do another one afterwards. But alright, so we got 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. Now in the top left, wave complete. Now, wave 2 begin. Now there's 6 of them. Oh shit. Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. You're all dead. Wave complete. Final wave complete. Alright, game over. You win. Now, there's going to be a part 2, alright, so if you want to continue developing this, watch that. I'll put a link to that or something. That'll be somewhere. And again, if you want to just buy this whole thing, when it's done, it's going to be in the marketplace in the description, okay? If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and otherwise I will see you in part 2. Thank you for watching.